What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? It's your boy Kemetic Energy, and this is Dirty Mouth Radio. Dirty Mouth Radio produced by Live Wire Sound and Entertainment.
It's your boy Kraynupe. What's going on, everybody?
What's goody? What's goody?
Shit, man, you know what it is, man. Just out here, making a living.
I feel you, man. I'm live from the Bat Cave, I'm over here abroad and shit. Can't really give away my location and shit, but I'm out here.
Incognito.
You know it, man. Yo, man. So I wanted to start this joint off, and I wanted to talk about something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to talk about some astrology shit, right? So a lot of people don't. Some people follow it. Some people don't follow it. Some people don't even know how it works, right? So I'm not going to get into like the different signs because you can look that up yourself. You can look up what I'm going to tell you now, but right now they're talking about this Saturn retrograde stuff, right?
Okay, what's that?
So pretty much a retrograde, retro meaning backwards, right? Mm-hmm. So a retrograde is really a planet moving backwards in its orbit.
Okay.
So
Wait, hold on.
Huh?
Okay, now go.
You got it?
Because I'm about to ask a very legitimate question, but
what's up?
Okay. I just don't want to cut you off because I know that you got more to this. Because
go ahead.
All right. So you said retrograde means that it's basically a planet that is rotating backwards
in its orbit. Yeah.
Okay. My question is, first off, I'm thinking this. There is no concept of north and south, left, right, forward, and back in space, right?
Exactly.
So how in the fuck?
I'm gonna break that down right now, yo. So a Saturn retrograde is literally Saturn moving backwards. However, Saturn is actually not moving backwards, but the Earth is moving so fast compared to Saturn that it looks like it's moving backwards in its orbit. You see what I'm saying? So the speed of Earth and the speed of Saturn moves very slow, but the Earth is moving very fast. So you know how you're driving down a highway and you move so fast it looks like other cars are going slow?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the same concept of these planets, right?
I understand that, but I'm still trying to figure out who the fuck decided that, we're moving forward and they're moving backwards. It doesn't...
I see what you're saying. What's the concept of forward and backwards in space?
Right. It doesn't.
I mean, you have to. They say it's moving in when it comes to an orbit.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they define it. It's in an orbit, so it's in that circular. There's a bunch of different other shapes, but for the sake of this conversation, a circular orbit. So if it looks like it's moving backwards in its orbit, that's just the concept that we have for it, pretty much. You see what I'm saying? That's just the only way they can define it. Even though everything doesn't have to be defined. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? If you break it down, I don't want to confuse no other listeners out here. That's why I see.
But no, they need to be confused. They need to be confused because people go and listen to this and they're going to be like, "Oh, the planet's moving back." But you really got to think about these. Okay, you can't just take what people tell you and just assume that it's right.
Exactly.
You got to put logic to it. We're in a planet where we decide that north is south and south is north is north, south is south, east is east. All of this shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But our planet is situated in a galaxy where we have no idea where the position and location of our actual where our galaxy is, much less where the planet is situated in it, right?
Yeah.
So if the planets don't have any GPS or locational coordinates or whatever, there's no exact definite arrangement of motion forward or backwards and shit. How can we come up with the concept of north, south, east, and west? It's just like it's all made up.
I feel you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like we just making shit up, and then we just like, oh, okay, well, this is since this is the only way that we can mentally process it, we're just all gonna go with the shit.
But
right?
See, my thing with that is, why is it that we try to focus on doing it ourselves and not focusing on what other people have tried to define it and look at how they have done it and see how successful they've been doing it. So, for instance,
ancient
ancestors, not even just ancient ancestors, but you have that tribe, the Dogon tribe, Africa. They have a proven track record of being successful by following the stars that are out here. And they don't even have they don't even utilize any of the technology that we use. Yet they're always right. You feel what I'm saying? So why don't we follow that? But I don't want to veer off topic with it, right? Okay. So I want to talk to pretty much the listeners and you about what these actual retrogrades do for us, right? So I was listening to a few different YouTube videos on it because I wanted to know how to really define what a retrograde is and how they all work, because I didn't even know. Okay. I just kind of wanted to share that. So the first one you have is you have inner planets, right? So the inner planets that they have are Mercury, Venus, and Mars. The Mercury retrograde happens 3 or 4 times a year for about 3 weeks. And they say it affects communication, tech, travel, and old connections. And you need to focus on self-reflection, right? So you have Venus that happens once every 18 months for a duration of 45 days. That impacts love and money, and your focus should be gaining perspective on things. Or you have Mars that happens once or twice every half year for 2.5 months, and it affects forward movement and stunted growth, and it reflects on motivations. Those are just the inner planets. The social planets are Jupiter and Saturn, and they focus on social interactions. Well, before I get into that, I skipped something. The inner planets focus on inner reflection. I'm sorry. So the social planets focus on social interactions. Jupiter happens every 9 months for a duration of 4 months, and it affects expansion and growth, and it focuses on regaining perspective. Now, this Saturn, the one that we're into now, it happens once a year for 4 months, and it affects relief from restriction, and it helps redevelop your structure. So this Saturn retrograde, it started on the 4th of this month, and it's supposed to last until October 22nd. I believe, from June 4th to October 22nd. Now, the outer planets, that's the last one, focuses on generational things. And that is Uranus, which happens once a year for a duration of 5 months. And it affects confronting your intuition and focusing on your brilliance, right? You have Neptune, which happens once a year for a duration of 6 months. It affects the loss of illusion and a clear view of reality with a focus on your ideal life. And the last one is Pluto, which happens once a year for 6 months. It affects shadow work and focuses on transforming to the true you. Now,
and these are all when these planets supposedly revolve like in the opposite direction.
Yeah, this happens when they all go into retrograde. These are the things that happen and what you should focus on. Now, the main reason why I'm saying all this stuff is because I was always skeptical about horoscopes and all that stuff. I really was for the longest. Like it wasn't until like the last 2-3 years where I really just started listening and seeing what horoscopes do. And I was always under the notion that no damn paragraph in the newspaper gonna tell me what my life is gonna be. You feel what I'm saying? But until I actually started reading that shit, and I was like, well, damn, that shit did fucking happen. I'm like, well, fuck. It happened more than once. I'm like, well, shit, this shit is truly happening. So I started getting a little more into it. Now I'm still a beginner in it all, but I say that to say that people need to start looking in things that some people think may be a little out there, maybe a little weird, or people may bash it. It's a lot of times the shit that people bash are like the most important things. You feel what I'm saying? Like we know cases, examples of that throughout a bunch of shit. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. Normally, half the time when people try to bash things, that is truly something that may be of importance to somebody else.
Right.
So, I just say, that was just something I wanted to bring up and have people actually understand
I think it's retrograde is. I definitely think it's something to look into. Retrograde. I don't see. I don't see the reasoning. I don't see the logic behind the backwards rotation and shit like that. That's kind of like elusive to me. But I do understand the concept of what some of these some of the things that like these positions of these planets can do for like others, for lives, because everything in the universe operates off of like vibrations and frequencies and stuff, right? So like when if it's true that the planet is rotating in a different direction, or may seem like it's running into a different direction, it's usually because something in the universe is like a frequency is causing that planet to shift in a different way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So those vibrations and frequencies, like all of these things are bouncing off of one another. So those signals are being sent to the earth as well. You know what I'm saying? Like all of that stuff like spreads out throughout the universe, and everything is affected by those. It's like the butterfly effect. Like if a butterfly flap its wings out in China or something, there's a greater effect somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? That's the butterfly effect. So I definitely understand that, and I think it's important for people to like pay attention to planets and just pay attention to the universe in general, because you live in it. It's no way that you can live in a system, and because like you got to think of it like a clock. Like clocks and stuff are built off of the basis and concepts of how the planetarium is situated. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Some of the cog work is based off of how how Earth, you know what I'm saying, how daytime and nighttime, or how the Earth rotates around the sun, or however, you know what I'm saying? It's based off of those ideas and concepts and stuff. So it's like, you can't live inside of a piece of a clock and be on one cog, and then if another cog is turning, not be affected by it. You know what I'm saying? Unless your cog is broken, which means that the clock is not moving at all, because that means that all the other cogs aren't moving. You know what I'm saying? Or something, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Which means that time stops. And if time stops, that means that we're stuck and we're dead, because without energy, you know what I'm saying, things go cold, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like freezing points and ice and shit is literally energy stop or slow. I shouldn't say stop. Slow down tremendously, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's important for people to pay attention, but like you said, like people always downplay this shit. Like they downplay universal thought. They downplay astrology and birthday signs, or whatever you want to call it, and just different stuff. But I feel like people like to keep other people fearful.
You think that's why they do it?
I don't know, son. It's kind of difficult, because it's like I'm not on the inner circle. And when I say the inner circle, this goes into like what I wanted to talk about as far as like circles and shit like that, and shapes and stuff, and geometrical shapes. but I'm not on the inner circle, so I don't know what the inner class of people's motives are. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why keep the people in fear? Why keep them unknowing? Why keep them absent? You know what I'm saying? It's because, you know what I'm saying, and like many will say, well, you're not supposed to know all of this stuff. Like, somebody has to run the world and do all of this stuff, because if everybody knew, then the world go into chaos and shit. You know what I'm
I think
saying?
that is total bullshit.
It's kind of it is. I feel like that too, dog. I'm like, imagine if the entire planet was just a universal race of just people just working together to find new ways and resources of life. You know what I'm saying? And progressing forward and moving forward. And even like going out in outer space. Like, it's like everything we do, we gotta compete with each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Russia work with China and China work with America, and we all work together, because I mean, in a certain retrospect, we kind of do. But then, like, we got the space race. Like, Russians are going to space, and United States it's a competition. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what if we worked together? Like, we would have been had space stations. Like, you know what I'm saying? We could have been so far in the universe by now. You know what I'm saying? But it's like we limit ourselves by withholding information, or like we are limited by the information that is withheld from us.
Yeah.
But then again, it's kind of like, if you allow people to know too much, then it takes away from like your status.
Yeah, but see, my thing is, what makes you the all-powerful one to restrict the knowledge in the first place?
Right.
Like, who are you to do that? You know,
yeah, that like it's not fair. Granted that the knowledge is out here, and like, if we really wanted to go find it and look for it, we could find it easy. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, would we believe it? That's another thing too. Because it's so much disorder and dysfunction in the world, and everything is like translated in so many different ways that it's like, what's real and what's not. Like, I was listening to a story the other day about not the Anunnaki. It was some beings. I don't know how to say their name, but basically it was like these big-headed black people with, you know, their heads were funny shaped, and then they had these white. They were big-headed the black people, and then they had cone-headed white people, right? And they were talking about how like these ancient people came to the earth, and then they found refuge in the inner earth theory, right?
So you talking about the hollow earth?
Hollow earth theory, right? So they moved inside the earth, and then they started building, and then they had another group of them, the conehead white people, whatever, which from them another class of people was born, like the big fat something people, and they were supposed to be like evil and bad and savages. So like the black group of people kicked out that group of people, but they made the white people take responsibility for them and shit. And it was just like a whole story about just how these people just started like this guy, like, it's just wild as fuck, yo. Like I'm listening to this shit, and I'm
it's like out there type shit.
It is out there though, but it's like, I could see some truth in it too, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they like the black culture exiled the white culture, and then eventually some of the white culture decided to go and fuck up the black culture. So in order to stabilize both cultures, they decided to marry, you know what I'm saying, their children and shit like that. One person didn't want to get married, another person didn't want to get married, and they hated, you know, their respective groups, and they decided to come to the earth, and these inner people would teach the outer people, us, you know, logic and technology and shit like that. You know, and I was just listening to that shit. I gotta go and figure out what the name of those people were. But then I think about the Anunnaki and shit, right? You know, through the ancient Sumerian texts and, you know, stuff like that. And then you move into, then after after Sumerians, you move into the Egyptians, and then you start learning about their gods, and then after that, we start learning about the Romans
the
and
Moors and all that stuff.
The Moors before the Romans, and then Christianity, and all of these stories start to develop and shit, right?
Yeah.
And it's like everybody wants to piece a religion. Everybody wants to create their own religion or superhero. Because now we in the age of superheroes and shit, right?
Yeah.
And it's wild because it's all synonymous, but it's all over the place. So it make you not even want to fucking pay attention. You be like, man, this shit is just OD. It's just too much. It's too much theories out this bitch. You know what I'm saying? And it's not enough proven facts and shit. Like we got giants aren't real, and then you find giant bones and you're like, oh fuck. Like
you heard about that the sinkhole they found in China?
They found another one.
That big sinkhole they found in there that had prehistoric trees and all that stuff down there.
Oh yeah. They had a whole ecosystem down there. Yeah. I could see that. I could see that though. I can see that.
But that's another thing though, because we always say that too. You got to think about it. Everybody's like, I can see that. That can happen. Yeah. But those little inches towards things lead up to these big ass things.
True.
For the years, people were saying, I don't believe in those UFOs and shit like that. But now you talk about all these little things that happen that may be a little extraterrestrial. I don't believe that happened. I believe that happened all the way up to the point that the government they announced that it is real. You feel what I'm saying?
They openly announced talking about this shit.
But my thing be, those little things always add up to what somebody's already been trying to tell people that they call crazy for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like with me, I don't discount any of these theories, even though how they may be outlandish. I agree like you. It may be a little bit of truth to things. I was reading something and looking at a TikTok based on Antarctica, right?
Right.
They talking about Antarctica may just be like a big wall of ice, and there may be other continents after Antarctica. They say if you look at the world map, right?
Yeah.
You're looking at it from a top-down approach, right? It's flat, right?
Yeah.
It was like, what happens on the other side behind everything? You feel what I'm saying? We're looking at it from a flat space, but the pit is a picture.
Right.
What's going on the sides and what's going around and behind it? They say it may be other continents out there.
And then the map is not, go ahead. No, I'm gonna say, I'm agreeing with you. Like, you're right. Like, and then the map is not even fucking developed right. Like, when you look at the map and you really look at it, you like, damn, look how close we are to some of these other fucking continents. Like, I didn't realize how close we was to fucking, what is it? Europe? Ukraine and Asia and all that shit. I was like, God damn, like them niggas is like right there.
Man, I'll never forget. It was in high school, dog. I had this teacher, African American Studies teacher. And I think I talked about her on the podcast before. But she, first of all, she was fine. I ain't gonna lie, but she was sexist as hell. She couldn't say anything about a nigga. She was all for women, down with niggas and all this other shit. But anyway, she talked about the map, She talked about the Mercator map and the Peters projection map, and how one is right and one is wrong, and how it's actually based on racism. And she was talking about the true size of Africa compared to the other continents and shit. I think it's just the manipulation of history, man. That shit is crazy.
It's real. It is, huh? Yeah, it's fucked
people
don't
understand how deeply systematic racism is, because that is racism, right? You see
that shit is fucked up, son. Because it's like once you start opening your eyes, it's like you want to know more, but then you be scared as fuck.
Yeah.
Because now you start like I be learning some shit, right? And then I start going, I'm like, all right, let me go a little further and see, what else is out here. Then you start learning shit about real shit, like niggas selling their souls and shit, and motherfuckers performing sacrificial cadences and stuff like that. Like this shit, you be like, crazy. you be watching on TV, like, oh, this is cool or whatever. But this is some real shit that happens in real life. Like, people really be selling their soul to the devils and be acquiring shit. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It is wild.
Like, people be really having like ancestral moments where they die and then they're reborn. Like, okay, like if somebody's heart stops, right? They're technically dead.
Yeah.
And then their heart starts again, right? These people will die and then come back speaking a whole nother language.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
Thinking in a whole nother context. Like, it's like, what the fuck? Like, this lady talking about she was an ancient Egyptian from way, 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 way back. Like, speaking in languages that don't even exist anymore, yo.
Wow.
Like, that happened to this little white girl. Like, she fell down the steps, bumped her head or some shit. And she was unconscious for a while. And then when she came back to, she believed that she was an ancient. Basically, she was from another time period.
Wow.
And when she was speaking different languages, she could read hieroglyphics and shit. She knew she could trace the map and, like, she knew certain places of Egypt and stuff, like where certain stuff was supposed to be, pyramids and certain things.
Wow.
Bro, she had fell in love with a pharaoh. You know what I'm saying?
Damn, are you serious?
From a long, long time ago, and she was reading about it. She was like, I'm not home. I don't feel right. I think she lived in either America or Europe or some shit like that. Her parents were white. By the time she was adult, she ended up moving to Egypt and stuff, you know what I'm saying, to get back to that place. And she ended up helping the researchers out there map out a whole entire, like, I don't know if it was a castle or something like that, but she was like ancient. She was a priestess of that time period or whatever. Right?
That is wild.
And she fell in love with a pharaoh, and then they end up killing her and stuff like that because of it, because she couldn't. That wasn't supposed to happen. And it's the story, like, it's on YouTube. They talk about that, but it's happened to different people all across the board, and it's mind blowing. And when you start looking, you be like, man, shit.
Like, that shit you can't close. You can't.
You cannot close your mind off to that.
Yeah, you can't.
Because how is it
open your mind up to it? There ain't no closing, dog.
Dog, it's like, how is it possible? Like, you can't fathom that type of shit.
Yeah. You
know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then you walking out here in the world and you just seeing all these people just doing dumb shit. It's just so, and that just brings me to my point of what I want to talk about these cycles is what I want to talk about. Basic cycles of just humanity. And I'll bring it down to a minuscule form. Like, I'll just talk about us in the United States. How we follow a strict cycle, dog. It's like every so often a recession happens. Every so often a government shutdown happens. Every so often we go through a transitional period, like the Renaissance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where, or the what was it? The internet phase, 1999 .com era, like when shit just kind of resets, but it's on in a new age, a new era.
Yeah.
And it's like we're at the cusp. We're on the cusp of that shit right now. And I don't think niggas really fucking understand what the fuck is going on. Like, we're on the cusp of shit really drastically changing very fast, maybe faster than it did during the .com era. Because Y2K, everybody was like, oh, the world's gonna end 2000, you know what I'm saying? Everything's gonna fucking fail and da-da-da-da-da. That's they always start talking about that shit. Then we go through our whole recession, everybody's broken shit. Then the housing market crashes, the stock market crashes, you know what I'm saying? And then we have a war. You know what I'm saying? And then when we come out of that, everything's stable for a while, steady progression, then it starts all over again, right?
Sure.
But like my issue is with the Black community. Like, this shit has been happening for years. It's not like this is the first time. But every generation of black people, it's like we just kind of
fall asleep.
We get caught up in this fog where we can't really see what's happening. And especially right now where we in the music industry and you know, all this propaganda that's being placed in front of our face, we don't see the real what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, we over here complaining about gas prices, but niggas is not knowing this shit is strategic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Electric, we about to move to a whole new energy, dog. These niggas trying to get as much bread out of it. They trying to milk the fuck out of this gas shit because they know what's about to happen. This shit is about to be a wrap. Ain't nobody about to be using fucking gas in 2050 and shit, in 2045 and shit. Everything gonna be on a whole nother energetic level. Like, we're moving towards electricity, right? But you gotta understand, these niggas are studying quantum physics. You know what I'm saying?
For years.
Bro, they trying to figure out how to transition into the future. Like, they're studying that shit. They have a whole facility built around these types of concepts. Quantum physics or quantum fusion and shit like that deals with just like power sources and energy and shit. You can basically power an entire nation with the smallest amount of like quantum physical energy or whatever the fuck it is called. I don't know what the fuck it's called, but you know, should it come to pass, we won't need all of this stuff that we're consuming now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
I agree. But I feel like the problem with it's as always, it's gonna be met with a lot of resistance.
Yeah, it's gonna be met with resistance, but
you gotta. Well, I'm not saying you gotta understand, but the biggest thing is when it comes to the whole EV thing, you got all these manufacturers, not just automotive, but a lot of different things, switching over to electric, right? But where does that put oil? Where does that put quote unquote fossil fuels? Because even that term in itself is bullshit, but I ain't gonna get into that. But that puts them at a big ass disadvantage. You feel what I'm saying? Me personally, my thought on this shit is I feel like the whole EV thing, the whole EV craze is gaining a lot of traction. And these oil motherfuckers are pissed off. And I feel like that's why all this gas is going sky fucking high.
And you right, they are pissed off.
Yeah.
But they old as fuck.
Yeah.
Them niggas is old, like, and you know, and I'm talking about this because my thing is black people need to start finding the place in these things. Yeah. Because we don't own none of this shit, right? No. But it's the perfect time to find a way to get it because it's so fucking cheap. You know what I'm saying? If you got bread, if you out on a block selling crack or you selling CDs or whatever the fuck you doing, you making bread at your job or whatever. What are you doing with your money, my nigga? Yeah. Like, you're just sitting on your bread, saving it because a recession is coming? Like, you need to be saving your bread with an actual plan, not just paying bills and shit, because you're always going to have fucking bills. Like, let's be real about this shit. Where are you putting your money? Because if your money is sitting in a bank, 9 times out of 10, it's either going to get spent slowly or it's going to get spent in a lump sum. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to burn. That's what money's for. It's used to be. It's made to be spent. So you might as well invest in something, just something, bro, something. Yeah, I agree. And my point is, like, look at what the fuck is going on in the world. You got electric vehicles. That's an investment. You can invest in that. You got charging station. That's another thing. But then you got other shit too, like AI systems. That's a big fucking thing right now. Yeah, I agree. Like, your phone operates on an AI system. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook operates on AI. When you call to get help from support, that's an AI. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no bullshit. Yeah.
Like, you're like when you talk to Alex or Siri and all of them motherfuckers, that's AI systems, dog. You can invest in these types of programs and shit because in the future that shit is going to be everywhere.
But see, my question is, why don't we?
Because
we got the knowledge. I feel like we know.
You think we have the knowledge?
You know what? Honestly, I think we know. We know about these things, but what is the real reason why we don't do it? That's a question I got for you. I have the answer from my opinion.
For me?
But I want to ask you, why is it that we do not?
I believe that there's a few reasons. But to me, one of the biggest reasons that you talking about African Americans, right, or just people in general?
Let's go African American.
All right. For one of the biggest reasons for African Americans is that we're only thinking about today. We so short. We are so fucking short term with every fucking thing. Like the new pair of Jordans come out, that's the most important fucking thing on the list until tomorrow they start talking about how some black kid just got shot by a cop. Because that's the in between phase for everything.
Yeah.
When something big happens, and then when the news ain't got shit to talk about, they just go and talk about, oh, another black kid got shot, or there's been a mass shooting somewhere at somebody's school and shit. Then we on that for a while. Then we transition back over to a war or some bullshit like that.
Yeah, I agree.
But we are so short term. Like, we don't have a linear style of thinking. We don't think long term. It's just like, man, I would invest, but I got bills today. Like, dog. Nigga, you done had bills since you was born. Nigga, you been in debt since the day you was born.
But see, on the
$20,000 worth of debt.
On the flip side of that, though, I see what you're saying, but I don't even want to hear that as an excuse, because everybody always says they got bills, right?
Yeah.
But then motherfuckers always put their bill off to do some other fuck shit as well. So it's like, is it truly the bill? I honestly believe that the reason why we don't do this shit is because of fear. I feel like it's fear, because me telling you that you should do something like this has you automatically suspicious and thinking of that as a red flag. And it's sad to say, with our people, dog, I hate saying this, but it's not until a non-melanated person says something that motherfuckers want to do it. And it happens all the fucking time, yo.
Or a melanated individual controlled by a non-melanated person.
Like, why do we have to wait for some great white hope to come over here and say something for us to make a move? You feel what I'm saying? Why are we not trying to make these moves now? You got the knowledge. Why not utilize the knowledge? You got the knowledge before he even came around. But you don't want to put it into action until he gives you the green light? I feel like that's the biggest problem that we have with a bunch of different shit. Not even just investments.
We just so skeptical about everything.
We skeptical as hell until somebody...
You're right. You know what?
I'm
gonna go a step further with this shit. I'm gonna go a step further with this, because you're right. You're on something right now. We are very skeptical about shit, right? Yeah. We don't want to make a move until we watch somebody else do it. Like, we're not willing to test the waters until we see that it's been proven. Exactly. Like, we want to see somebody else fail or succeed before. So, like, let's go into this market, the housing market, right? Mm-hmm. All right, so the housing market has been a big deal. It's like they say that's like one of the leading ways of just building up wealth over time, right? Mm-hmm. But white people and all these other cultures have been buying up properties for years, right?
Yeah.
We got in late. Like, African Americans, we were getting in late. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, you had a couple individuals who were doing this shit, but like, we wasn't on that shit. We was getting in. We are getting in real estate on the tail end of the big boom. Mm-hmm. Of, when everything's high as fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it became like this trend and shit. Now you see all of these women and shit trying to get their real estate license. Every time I talk to a female, it's like, yeah, I've been thinking about getting my real estate license. Oh, I'm trying to get my real estate license. But, this, that, and the third. It's like, when the fuck did this shit become so fucking popular? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, why is everything a fucking trend? Like, bro, like it's you know, we not going to jump onto cryptocurrency until it's already up the fucking here in the sky. We're going to be like, oh, you know, I've been thinking about taking classes about cryptocurrency and NFTs and shit. You know what I'm saying? 20 fucking years later and shit, right? After niggas that made billions and millions and trillions of dollars, like, you know, I've been thinking about getting into Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, what? You late, boy. Like, we, and you know, for me, I'm late too. But nigga, I was born in fucking 88. You know what I'm saying? By the time like Bitcoin was around, I was just getting into college and shit, right? We were just fucking leaving high school, getting into college. We didn't know shit about that shit.
Yeah, Bitcoin was about college. Yeah.
We didn't even have no platforms on cell phones where we could buy shit. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have apps and shit. So it was kind of like in our minds, it's like cryptocurrency, like how do you even get that? Like, you know. But like now it's like it's like, okay, there was a beginning where the shit was just at 0, 0, 0, 0. You know what I'm saying? There was the first quarter, first half, right?
Yeah.
Now we entering into the second half of this motherfucking shit, right? That shit is at like $18,000. It's a fucking digital currency at $18,000 fucking dollars. This is unfathomable, right? Nobody could believe that this shit is really happening.
Yeah.
Dog, do you realize in the third stage of this cryptocurrency shit, that shit could hit a fucking 100,000?
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? By the fourth stage of cryptocurrency, it could be worth about a damn near $1 million for one coin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
why not invest into it now is the question.
Right. Like you might not be alive to see it, but you might. Shit. What the fuck is like what's you know?
I mean, the main thing is investing for your future generation.
Right.
So if you don't, you know, your time on here is already limited anyway. So why not have the next people ready? You know?
And that's why I'm talking about we so fucking short-minded. Like we don't care about the future. We don't care about kids. You know what I'm saying? We don't give a fuck about that shit. Because if we did, we wouldn't be listening and playing the fucking dumbass music that we be playing and putting tattoos all over our fucking faces and shit like that. Like,
yeah, that's true.
You know, but you know, that's neither here nor there. We talking about something completely different. But I'm just like, man, like all of this shit is out here. Like I'm just now starting to get hip to this shit. Like I'm an artist. You know what I'm saying? I'm an artist. I'm studying financial literacy. Cause I'm tired of being broke, dog. You know what I'm saying? Niggas is really going poor out here. And it's not gonna do nothing but get worse once the recession hits.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Niggas gonna be losing their jobs and be fucked up. So it's like, okay, you spend 30 years in a mortgage, right? You pay on your mortgage every month. That's to you. That's to whoever who owns a house and shit. That's to them. That's an investment. But
is it truly an investment?
It's an elusive asset. Like let's just be real. An asset is something that reproduces goods back to you. You know what I'm saying? Granted, your house produces, it's a place of shelter. You can do stuff and build stuff there. But it's not really bringing you any money. So
until you utilize it
then it becomes an asset. But until then, it's just a liability, because if a tornado comes and blows your fucking house over, then you're fucked. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you can think of it as a liability. Floods. Your house is susceptible to flooding. Your house is susceptible to termites. Your house is susceptible to hurricanes, earthquakes, a whole bunch of like earthly shit, right?
Yeah. So
it becomes an asset when somebody's using it and you're making more money to where you can buy or you can live life and shit, But if you invest into a house for 30 years, you pay your mortgage $1,500, $2,200 a month or whatever, right? Why not just put like $25 into cryptocurrency for 30 years?
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? $50, $100 in the crypto. $150, I think it's $157 a month. It's $5 a day. You know what I'm saying? And, a month. You do that shit for a year. You do the fucking math. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's not hurting your pockets. You know what I'm saying?
You make dollars, man. That's pretty much what it is. Yeah.
But our people are so fixated with making money fast, so we can just wash ourselves of all our problems immediately.
That's what I said before we got on here. Delayed gratification is the key, man. Immediate gratification is always going to bring your downfall.
And then there's laziness too. There's a bit of laziness in there. We don't want to sit down and study.
Fuck no.
I heard a man, I forget the dude's name, but he was like, you should learn something every day. You should learn something new every day. Like every day you should have something you study and learn. Something. Like it could be anything. Cooking, cleaning, I don't know, whatever.
Because anything other than that is living your life on autopilot. That's complacency. That ain't what you on this earth to do.
No, son. Like your job literally has like 75% of your life under its control, and then the rest of you is for you to sleep.
yeah, that's real shit. That's real shit, yo.
You know, so
then that's part of the cycle, right?
It's part of a cycle, dog, and we on the outer circle. Like we don't see the bigger picture because when you look at a circle, if you stand in the middle of a circle, you literally can stand there and watch everybody rotate around you. When you're on the outer circle, if you stand still, you rotate around everyone in the middle.
Yeah.
If you walk around the outer rim, forward or backwards, you're still walking either faster around the person or slower around the person. But that person is always standing there watching you. They can see where you're going. They can see where you've been, and they can see where you are at all times. You know what I'm saying? And while you thinking you're passing them by, you're really just walking circles around them, and they're just fucking standing there watching you. You know what I'm saying? At any point in time, they can stop this ball, and you're gonna fall the fuck off.
That's real shit, yo.
You know what I'm saying? Damn, but me in the middle, I will never fall off because I got space, I got room. You know?
That's real.
So if you continuously going through the cycle and you're running fast, like you're a drug dealer, you're running fast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the drug supplier or the drug lord, he's in the middle of the ball. He's watching you. You know what I'm saying? He just chilling, watching you. The niggas who have the most wealth do the less work. That's just facts.
Yeah.
You know? And niggas who do the most work, you know, that goes back into the conversation we were having last time about bosses and shit. I figured it out. I finally figured out what he was talking about when he was saying, like, employees are lazy. I really understand it now.
We'll go back to it, man. What,
you want me to
once you're going to go back into that.
I get it now, son. Because it's not the fact that employees are lazy on a physical aspect, right? It's a mental, lackadaisical mind state where unknowingly you put yourself in position to you employ a job or person to rule your whole entire life, right? Where they basically plan out what time you wake up in the morning, how you going to get to work, what you're going to do when you get there, what time you get to eat, what time you get to take breaks, what time you get to go home, how efficiently you do your work. Are you efficient? Are you not? They rate you. You know, they basically decide how much you're worth, how much you can get paid, how much you have potential to make, how much you'll probably make if you stay at the current level that you are. If there's a probable chance of you getting another job, you know what I'm saying? They decide what food you can eat because they only give you a certain amount of money to afford certain kinds of food. You know what I'm saying? They decide how often you get to take off of work. They get to decide how often you can be sick. They get to decide what kind of doctors can you go see, what kind of dentists you can go see, if you can go see a doctor or a dentist at all. Can you even be sick? They decide how many hours you get to sleep, how many hours you get to spend with your family, how many hours your family gets to spend with you. They get to decide whether you can take phone calls or if you can't take phone calls. They get to decide where and when you can smoke. If you can't smoke, they get to decide where you drink water, how you drink water, where you get to piss, if you can piss.
That is real.
You know what I'm saying? They get to decide what you buy and put into your own house. They get to decide whether you can smoke weed or not, regardless of what your health criteria entails. You know what I'm saying? You employ these people to do that. That's why you pay them a tax. Every time they pay you, they pay themselves first. Then they give you what's left over. Because really, you're just working to pay them back for what they're doing for you. Right?
To me, that sounds like a transformed slave to me, man.
Exactly. So when he says employees are lazy, in all actuality, you are, because you don't want to take responsibility for pretty much. That sounds like 80% of your life, bro.
I see what you're saying.
That's all down the board. Like, the only aspect of your life that you truly have control over is when you're at home by yourself. If that even happens.
Why do you think that people let that happen? I think
because
it's driven by fear. I think it's truly driven by fear to try to take your life on autopilot and manually do it all for yourself.
Bro, it is a fear. I'm not going to lie to you. That shit hard as fuck.
But if you have the answers, see, okay, because we coming up on time, right? I talked to this one girl, right? And I asked her, I said, look, you talking about trying to go part-time at work, right? And you asking, at the time I was part-time, and she was like, how did you do it? Da-da-da-da-da. I said, anybody can do it. Nah, I need money. Da-da-da-da. I said, well, if I'm making money and you making money, what the hell are you talking about you need money? She was like, how is it you able to get a good check? I said, if I'm doing part-time and I do, pick up somebody's shifts here and there or do what I need to do, I can make the same amount of money as you as a full-time person. But what am I doing? I'm taking myself off that autopilot schedule and I'm making it happen. You feel what I'm saying? I'm switching from an automatic to a goddamn stick shift.
You taking
still
control.
Driving the car. Exactly.
You're taking back control of a higher percentage of your life.
Exactly.
Because now,
let me finish just one little part.
Go ahead.
I asked her. I said, "What's truly the thing that's holding you back from going part time?" She said, "I'm scared of being broke." I said, "You ever been broke before?" She said, "Yes." I said, "How did you solve the issue of being broke?" I did this, and this. So what the fuck is the problem? So you pretty much had the worst case scenario. You came up with the solution for the worst case scenario. You beat the worst case scenario. What the fuck are you scared of?
It's laziness.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to do that shit.
I told her, I said, no disrespect, but it's not fear. It's complacency, and it's being lackadaisical towards actually making the move.
It's like, let's call it what it is, bro. It's lazy. It's the unwilling to take control of your own life, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I understand. It's kind of distasteful to say this shit. Like, it's kind of distasteful for me to say this. I understand that you don't want to take control of everything in your life, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because it's hard as fuck.
Yeah.
But listen to me when I say that shit sounds so distasteful. Because what the fuck am I really saying right now? I don't want to have control. Like, if we all fighting for freedom, none of us will ever be fucking free because we don't want to take control over our immediate lives.
Yeah.
You You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We all talking about, I just want to be free. I just want to be financially free. Nigga, you won't never be financially free because somebody else manages your fucking paycheck, your finances for you.
Yeah.
You know, they literally take your money and put it into a Roth or whatever if you have a job that does that for you. And then these motherfuckers don't give a fuck about how much money you gonna have after you
401k.
After you retire, your ass might come out with $20,000 and shit. That shit is not enough to fucking survive another 20 years.
Did you see what they did about that employee that was working for Burger King for 27 years?
What happened?
This motherfucker worked there 27 years, didn't call out one time. Them niggas gave him a Starbucks cup, 2 pens, and something else. I think it was like some candy or something as a congratulatory thank you for working for 27 goddamn years.
That shit is sad as fuck. Yo. Because they gonna do you grimy, son. But if a nigga that worked 20 years as a CEO, whatever the fuck, up there, he gonna get severance pay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He gonna get buku bread. And then he managing his own fucking portfolio of money. So he know what he gonna have. I'm gonna have like 200 million when I fucking retire because my bread is just sitting in my Roth.
That's why it's important to leverage your 9 to 5. And when I say leveraging your 9 to 5, do what you gotta do. If you gotta work the 9 to 5, work the 9 to 5. But like you said, take that money and do something with it. That is leveraging your 9 to 5. The more that you do that shit, and the more that you keep on taking that little bit, like dollar cost averaging your paycheck, you become you end up with a stockpile. And that stockpile that you do and you invest, you start bringing that little hustle that you're doing, that investment starts, building up to the level of your damn 9 to 5. And you get to this point, now you just leverage your 9 to 5 from here to here.
Right.
Based on that 9 to 5 to do what you ultimately want to do. And that's what I be trying to tell people, man.
Like on factual shit, dog, you can work full time for like 10 years at a job, right?
Yeah.
With a job that gives you like 401k, right? You could put in work. I mean, if this is all you want to do, like you don't want to do shit else, you just want to work, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this shit, right? Let's manage our lives while working for somebody else, right? I'm going to work 10 years for someone else, right? They're going to pay me this money, right? The least you can do is go into your own Roth and establish and learn what the fuck is happening.
Yeah.
How the fuck the money works. How can you move your money around and put your money into stocks or ETFs or whatever they're investing in to make you more money, right? 10 years go by. If you've managed your portfolio right, after 10 years, you could go fucking part-time and be making the same amount of fucking bread. And then when you fucking retire after 20 or 30 years, be a millionaire. You could take that million once you 57. After 57, if you invest in a Roth IRA, it's untaxed. It's untaxed fucking money. Certain ones they tax you, but a Roth IRA doesn't tax you after 57. So I think does, traditional does. After 57 years old, you can literally take that money, have it sitting on the side. You can have them pay you $1,000 a month. If you then took care of your life, if you paid attention to your life, you invested into some property, you got a house, right? You was paying monthly on it, right? After those 10 years, you still pay your fucking whatever, your mortgage and shit. Once you retire, that money from your Roth now goes into, you know what I'm saying? So any money that you get from retirement is pocket.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
But you just gave them $10 million worth of game, man.
You know what I'm saying? So all you gotta do, if you start now at 25 or 30 or whatever the fuck, and you just like, this is what I'm going to do. This I don't want to fucking climb the ladder. I don't want to quit. I'm just going to stay here at this base level. I'm just going to be the employee. I don't want to be a supervisor, lead, or boss or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
That's the least you can do for yourself. Take control of that part, right? Then also start taking control of your health. That's another part that you need to manage because we getting all of this benefits and shit, and we don't even know how to use the shit, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to learn how to use the shit because I don't know fucking shit about goddamn none of that shit, right?
Yeah.
You're not taught this shit in school.
Yeah.
You go get a job, they like, you got health benefits. And you're like, oh, okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you don't know what the fuck to do with that shit.
You don't manage know how to maximize it. Yeah.
Yo, manage that shit so that you can keep yourself healthy, keep your teeth up and shit. That's another part of it. That's another percentage of your life that you can control. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Then after that, you got your vacation time. Niggas don't take vacations. Niggas don't take leave.
Right there. That is your mental health. Yeah.
Niggas will call out of work. Like you work at like certain jobs give you leave and shit. I think a lot of jobs at this point give you a certain amount of leave, right?
Yeah.
You'll call out of work, oh, I'm not coming in, I'm going to be late and shit like that, right? But before that, you don't even know the jargon to use that's going to null and void all of that shit. That's going to stop you from getting fired. Because after 3 terms at some jobs, they're going to fire your motherfucking ass. FedEx fired my black ass. I was late 3 times. They fired me. That's how they do. But if you use certain jargon, like I want to use this kind of leave, I want to do this, or I want to do that.
Yeah.
All of that is negated.
Yeah.
You just reset. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's taking control of your life while being an employee, bro. Because you're paying these people to manage your life. You might as well have control over these niggas to some extent.
Straight like that. Well, this conversation ain't nowhere near over, yo. You already know we're gonna hit them in the head a little more with that in some future episodes because it's a lot more that we need to fucking talk about, man.
Yeah.
With that being said, this is your boy Kemetic Energy.
It's your boy Kraynupe.
And once again, this is produced by Livewire Sound Entertainment. Peace out, peoples. Have a nice night.
To rent premium sound equipment for your next concert or podcast at a low price, go to www.livewiresoundent.com.